John Tesher, give Gerard welcome to the podcast. And as is what happens usual, what's usual for me in the morning is that I wake up and I have 450 texts about something. This time it was
never a good sign. Never
not.
exciting.
I'm thinking this has got to be from my wife, Connie. I left something on. I don't know what happened. The dog did something. It was about the basketball song. It was about Roundball Rock,
the great Roundball Rock.
And what happens with me with my friends is it's like, are you okay with this? You know, like, and they don't even tell me what the heck's going on. It's like, are you okay with this? The same thing happened when Saturday Night Live did a parody of the song, right, in New York. And it hadn't hit here yet in Los Angeles.
Right.
And so I get all these texts from everybody. My friend Lenny, like 100 texts. Are you okay with this? I can't believe these guys did this, you know? So it was like that. And so finally somebody sent me a clip, and it was these guys. It was on a show that I don't watch on CNBC, but maybe I should because
it's on at my gym in the morning. So I do my workout and I watch Squawk Box.
I'm watching this. I'm thinking, you know, if I watch this every now and then, my stock portfolio would be better. But that's usually what they talk about, right? Is stocks.
Yes.
And then they have like 1,000 tickers on the bottom.
Yeah. It's a regular business news show.
Right. I'm sorry.
And they do business news stories. Right. And and they picked up a story this morning
about
that
Roundball
involves
Rock.
you.
Right, about Roundball Rock.
Involves the fact that the NBA is coming back to NBC,
right,
which we're very excited about, and about the nature of whether or not Roundball Rock is going to be on the broadcast or not.
Yeah, I got to tell you though, when I see my name pop up and I see people on the news talking about it,
check your pulse to see if you're dead.
Oh my gosh, it was like, okay, so should I play this the first part of this?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
okay.
This is the story.
Okay, here we go.
Remember that? Let the nostalgia flood in, folks. During the 1990s, it was open. It was the open to the NBA on NBC. It featured the beloved Roundball Rock theme. It was composed by John Tesh.
No way.
But with the NBA coming back to NBC, will we once again hear that song blaring from our TVs? I hope so. The guy who knows the answer
Definitely in my
is
head.
CNBC's Alex Sherman at the table this morning. What do we got?
Let me tell you a little story, Andrew. A few months ago, I wrote a story about how NBC could license this song from John Tesh, the composer, when it became clear that NBC was on the verge of striking a deal to bring back the NBA, which starts next season.
I love this song. It just brings back everything for me.
So
everything.
When I wrote the story, the impact on social media was through the roof.
Yep.
So in the back of my mind as a reporter, I remembered that and was like, okay, let me check up on how that deal was. So in the intermediate, NBC Sports, when they announced that the NBA was coming back, said, hey, the song's going to come back too. And there was, internet rejoicing. So I checked up on the deal. I hate to break this to you and the audience, but there is no deal yet. Even though NBC Sports said the song's coming back, they're still in negotiations with John Tesh.
Is that true about them not having it and making the announcement?
Yeah, I mean, what happened was during right before the Olympics, right? I get a call from the music department at NBC, and they say, "Hey, we just found out that it's official. We got the rights to the NBA for 11 years. It's back." And it begins in October of 2025, and we want to say that we're negotiating with you and your publishing company, and we're going to bring Roundball Rock back with it. We want to put that in the press release because we know that will be one of the big questions.
As well, it should be.
Well,
it should be.
I was honored when they said we want to get ahead of all the questions. Right?
You can't say this, but I can say this as a viewer of basketball. How exciting it is to have the theme come back, and what an exciting moment it'll be. Because for me, it connects. I talk about this all the time. I have this group of guys that I grew up with, and we watch sports together, and we text every day about the sports that we watch.
Right.
And it brings me, when I hear the theme, and I hear it whenever I want. When I hear the theme associated with a basketball broadcast, it brings me right back to that feeling of watching sports with my friends, and brings me to this heyday of the NBA. So I love that about it. And it would have been, regardless of any connection I have to it, it would have been my question when the NBA NBC got the NBA back.
I appreciate it. So when he said this, I said, well, listen, you don't have the rights to the song. And so he said, yeah, but we want to put in the press release that we're negotiating with you and your publishing company. And I said, that's that. I don't think that's a great idea.
Right.
And then he said, well, we would just hope that you would negotiate in good faith. And I said, I guess you're going to do what you want to do. And he said, yeah, that's what the folks here want to do. Right.
Okay.
And so when the press release, fast forward, and when the press release came out, it was this big thing, and everybody picked it up, right? All the podcasters, everything, The NBA is back on NBC, and Roundball Rock is back. The press release actually said we have the rights to Roundball Rock. And I'm reading this thing, I'm going, what? So I call him back up, the guy at NBC, and I say, hey, you said you were going to say you were negotiating with us in good faith. He goes, yeah, we got out a little ahead of our skis. I said, yeah, ahead of your skis. And he said, well, we hope that you'll negotiate in good faith. And he said, and I hope that you won't, talk to the press about this. Because what I said was, I'm going to get a whole bunch of phone calls now from all these podcasters.
I got phone calls.
Can you just wait until everybody gets back from the Olympics, and then we'll start negotiations? And so, Chris Roslin, my publicist, said, John, we're getting hundreds of phone calls. You've got to get ahead of this. Right. My lawyer says, John, you've got to get ahead of this. And I realized that if I, quote unquote, got ahead of it and said, whoa, wait, they don't have the rights, that I would have destroyed that great press that NBC was getting.
Yeah.
And I worked for NBC. I did the 92 Olympic Games as an announcer, and also the 96, and a lot of stuff for them. I know all the guys there, and I thought, oh gosh, and I felt like I was frozen in place. And then when it came time to negotiate, it was crickets for quite a long time. I think, okay, so I just got cut off at the knees.
I mean, look, first and foremost, it is exciting, the idea of it coming back. So that's super great. The other thing is, you're talking about negotiating around the Olympics, but having the theme come back for the Olympics and having that theme with the NBA again, with the NBA players that are out there, was such a great amount of goodwill, so much excitement, and it really was fueling an exciting fire online of people responding to and talking about it, to the point where we've got like new versions of the song, and it's really you like to say it's taken on a life of its own.
Yeah, the song. What's funny is that the song actually, and we're going to play some more clips from CNBC, but the song, when it lasted for about 10, 11 years on NBC, beginning in 1989, right? And then it was off for 24 years, right? But during that period of time, because of YouTube and people learning how to play the song, and it being, people licensing it for commercials and all the rest of that stuff, it just took on a larger life than it had even when it was on NBC during the Showtime era. So listen, I'm a grateful guy. I had 8 notes that have I get people singing them to me in the airport. I'm totally grateful.
That's just me. I'm just following around singing it in the airport.
And I have to say that once I left television, I left Entertainment Tonight back then, I thought I had left this media madness, but this thing, and now it's now I'm in the middle of this thing where it's like, okay, so now what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Can we play the next clip here?
Let's play the next thing.
Okay.
NBC fully expects to reach a deal still for the song, and we're still in negotiations. Another thing I was told is that Tesh has actually held a conversation with a VC firm where he could sell the song to the VC firm, and the VC firm could negotiate with NBC.
Take some risk off the table.
A little risk off the table. Remember, there was like a big SNL sketch about this song. This song is wildly popular.
This is like the theme song to Top Gun, though. It brings, you hear it, and it brings back a whole
But you also
sort of
think
nostalgia.
of NBC, honestly.
All right, so that's it. I'm leaving now. He just equated it to Top Gun.
As well they should. You can't say this because you wrote it and you're like, oh, it's cool. But as somebody that consumes sports and enjoys that
nonstop.
No, I mean, it's I try not to be weird about it, but I like this, and I like the connection that I have. So I have kids. When they were, before he died and when he was still the voice of the Dodgers, I had my kids listening to Vin Scully, even though it was like an older style of voice, so that they could appreciate where, the sports that I grew up listening to, and now they have their own appreciation for the sports that I watch. And that's what a theme like this will do. In the same way, they talk about Top Gun, in the same way that when Top Gun came back with Top Gun Maverick 36 years later,
was that 36 years?
Yeah, the sequel. And by the way,
my gosh.
fantastic movie. It's like it was Star Wars with Top Gun, and they had to bring the theme back because they are inextricably linked in the same way that when you think of the NBA on NBC, you think of Roundball Rock being there with it, because it brings back the same energy. Like, you can't watch Top Gun and not hear the theme. I can't think of the NBA on NBC and not think of the theme. And the connection and the energy and the emotion that it brings, it harkens to another thing, which is your theme was you got really lucky, because at a time when the NBA was expanding and Michael Jordan was coming into his prime, and you had this really exciting time to watch basketball, the theme was associated with the primetime coverage of those basketball games in a fantastic way. And now, we think, okay, you think of all of these current NBA stars, and they are fantastic. I love watching, Steph Curry and LeBron.
Amazing.
I love watching Giannis. I like watching these new stars, but every single one of them, to the man, gets compared to Michael Jordan. So the bridging of those eras is a really exciting thing that we have the opportunity to be a part of.
My favorite thing to see, and it's just so ridiculous, is when NBC, when Saturday Night Live did the parody.
Oh, it's great.
And got my whole outfit right from Avalon, and also the thousands of people who learned how to play the song. That's when I knew, like, okay, so people are really connecting to the song. And it is one of those things that only happens. I mean, maybe it happens for Hans Zimmer every week. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Vangelis.
Vangelis. Yeah.
Vangelis.
Yeah.
There you go.
I didn't mean to correct you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, John Williams has some themes. You can't put yourself up there, but I'll put you up there in the pantheon.
All right. What's this? Cut 4?
Yes.
Cut 3, 4?
The other piece of it that I just don't know is the younger generation may not care.
They might
don't
not
know it. They've never heard it in their whole life.
And in fact, I suppose if NBC Sports said we want to reach the younger generation, maybe they feel like the song is old and they want to bring in a new song. So there's a lot of different things that, look, 90s nostalgia is big. Like, you just think about all of the different reboots on the streaming services of 90s TV. So there's absolutely a huge fan base there that I think NBC wants to reach. And it would be weird to hear this song on, like, ESPN.
So yeah, a new theme, fine, but that doesn't. It loses the connection that I have to watching basketball with my kids. It loses the connection of. That's one of the greatest things that sports has. It has this intergenerational ability, and we compare players from different eras to players from other eras.
Right.
So, we're comparing Shohei Ohtani to Babe Ruth. We're comparing LeBron James to Michael Jordan. And I get to talk to my kids about watching the Showtime Lakers growing up and how exciting that was for me. It's an intergenerational connection that it's not just about appealing to a new audience. It's about the old audience connecting with the new audience as the show, as the programming, as the game evolves. We all get to enjoy it together. That is the real value of sports. The contracts for athletes are so astronomically large, and they are deserved because people consume it in this way. They consume it intergenerationally. So new theme, schmoo theme. This is the one that I don't know why.
Well, I have to tell you the story because I went on this podcast right when the news came out that it might be coming back to NBC. I went on this podcast, and I said, because that's what we were going to do, I said, we're going to go into the studio in Nashville at legendary Ocean Way with a 70-piece orchestra, and we're going to re-record it, do a couple of different versions, and Twitter blew up, said, don't change anything,
right. Yeah, you can't change
it. Because now they call the original version the OG version, which has a lot of the old sounds. But now these old sounds have come back.
Oh, they are.
So all the sounds that you heard on the Rocky IV soundtrack and all the rest of that.
Super Jupiter, if you want to get nerdy
That's exactly
about it.
what it's called.
Yeah.
All right, let's try it. I think we got one more clip from these guys.
But obviously people associate it with NBC.
That synthesizer sound is definitely a little dated. Like it reminds me of broadcast news when they were trying to come up with the new.
So I think NBC probably is thinking we can either tap into the nostalgia base, or we can create a new song that is a little bit more modern sounding here.
The nostalgia base is the base.
Whoa. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to be a nice guy here.
Okay.
But when she said, and I don't know this woman, God bless you, but the synthesizer sound that you're saying is outdated is totally back. In fact, I've got synthesizers in this house that people are trying to buy from me because that sound is back. And I think a lot of kids, your kids and your generation, that's the 80s music, the 80s sound. And you mentioned Super Jupiter. It's that really thick, it's EDM, it's electronic dance music, and it's back. So that plus orchestra. So I'm sorry,
and we have an orchestral version with the full real instruments that,
and it's okay. But everybody wants to hear that big giant mini Moog, fat sound with oscillators, firing off.
This morning I worked out to the Rocky theme.
Oh, it's
the
so
Rocky
great.
soundtrack.
So
sure, broadcast news, but I would say Rocky.
Yeah,
you could reference Rocky. That's the sound that I want to connect to.
All right, so what are we? How do we conclude this?
I mean, that's the story, is that I think everybody is really excited about the idea of this theme being back on NBC. We want that to happen. I think, they haven't, I don't think we've got an offer yet. I don't think we've gotten an opportunity. I say we, it's really, I think you've gotten an offer yet. I don't think you've had an opportunity to actually finish this deal with NBC.
This song is a legacy song for the family. All three of your kids know how to play the song.
Yeah,
I've lived with this song, and I have become probably one of the biggest influencers for the song. And I've watched it.
You wrote it?
Yeah, well, because I just so here there's a great book called Story Brand, right? And it's the book is mostly for salespeople, and it's about how if you're going to sell something, if you're going to get somebody's attention, you need to build a story.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this was going to happen, but the story that you went through the whole thing. The story that Roundball Rock has built is the halcyon days of Showtime and you can see it if you just go on, like I said, they're like in June and July of 2024, 13.1 billion impressions from people. And I just, when I saw that, I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing ever.
Because it was on the Olympics and people got excited about it.
Yeah. So for me, business wise, but I mean, it's like I'd say, I think this, I've seen what the song is worth, but I love NBC, and back in the day, Dick Ebersol, God bless him, he hired me, and Terry O'Neill and Van Gordon Sauter, those guys hired me out of CBS News, and they sent me on the Tour de France, and they sent me on downhill skiing, and they sent me with David Michaels, Al Michaels' great brother, producer, and that's where I learned how to play this music with that synthesizer music that she doesn't like.
You're going to take that personally.
Oh, it's all right.
I love it.
I got to call her up now and apologize. And so that sound that on the Tour de France, and everybody knows the story. They've seen it, everywhere. Where I wrote it on my answering machine.
Yeah.
Because when I was in Europe.
Sell that to him. Sell the tapes of the answering machine tapes.
If you want something
to
new.
NBC.
Yeah. All right. And so I guess pretty much right now with the guys at NBC who make all these decisions, I'm hearing crickets, but I'm ready. And the song is ready, and Gib is also ready. I'm excited. I love the fact that you're 30 years younger than me, and I love the fact that 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds. I just think that I hear from them, right? And so I disagree with the guys at CNBC about this that are saying that maybe they're going to want something new. Okay, fine, but the song has lived for the last 24 years.
without being on television, and it'll go along if they make a decision.
Rightfully so. Look, it is evocative of an exciting emotional experience of coming home and having primetime basketball on your television, and I go to my buddy Eli's house and we'd watch basketball and order a pizza, and like that song brings you right back to that moment.
Me too. So and before we end the podcast, I just want to say to those of you who have written to me about it, who have supported me, who have learned how to play the song. I love the kid who tried 1,627 times to play it with a ping pong ball bouncing off of pots and pans. And it has like 17 million views.
Hopefully he monetized that video, because it's a lot of work.
Thank you for doing that. The people who've been who just stay with the song. I mean, I don't take that lightly.
You shouldn't. Yeah. It's exciting. It's a great. That's the joy of making any kind of artistic form of expression, is that it people react to it, and that's great.
And when I die, you
have the clock.
No, you know how to play it. So NBC, whoever, you're going to be dealing with this guy.
No.
All right, for Gibb Gerard, I'm John Tesh. Thanks for enduring us in this podcast. The reaction to, you remember how hard it was? I couldn't spell squawk. I've never.
It's not an easy. Once you have it, you have it. You have to sound it out. It's difficult. English is a difficult language.
Thank you, guys.